So, was haben wir denn hier in den Reaktionsvorschlägen? Replika, was? Cybersexual Disaster, what the fuck? Cybersexual, was? Ist das Toss-Safe? 17 Minuten. A Cybersexual Disaster, what the fuck? Oh mein Gott, da sind Leute, what the fuck? Da haben sich Leute in den Chatbot verliebt? Oh Gott! What the fuck?
Alright, I'm back. Sometime soon I'll have a video, a much longer video that contains more information on where I went, including a couple key shoutouts to some creators, some YouTubers in particular, who were extremely hospitable to me during a recent trip, but for now, let's dive right back into it. Also, if it sounds like I'm sick, it's because I am. I got a really, really bad head cold on this trip, and it's just not seeming to clear up. So if I sound odd, it's because I'm sick, and I'm just gonna dive back in anyway.
Oh, ich muss noch die Auflösung. Entschuldigung, wir haben immer noch 4:3 Auflösung. Zack. Gut.
Because waiting for it to clear
Schön 4:3 rein. Retro. Heute wird alles in Retro geguckt.
might take, I don't know how many more days, so I'm just getting to it. Here we go. A while ago, I did a video about an AI text application called Replika. That video was extremely popular as far as my individual channel is concerned, garnering
Ich kenne Replika gar nicht. Vielleicht schon mal im Nebensatz irgendwo gehört, aber jetzt sagt es mir nichts.
north of 1 million views thus far, and picking back up again more recently, but with a number of months having passed by and a series of developments taking place, I think it's time for a follow-up video.
Wait a minute. Replika ist doch der Bot, mit dem dieser Steuerung F oder Y-Kollektiv-Journalist geschrieben hat, oder?
Because the situation has gone from troubling to hilarious to downright fascinating, with no telling what happens next. Here's the context, and I'll try to keep it as brief as possible since my original coverage, linked down below, discussed all of this in much more detail. Replika is an AI companion app that was originally billed as a mental health program.
Mental Health Program.
Heavily advertised as an option for helping with social anxiety and loneliness, originally at least, Replika was able to capitalize on a growing epidemic of loneliness in America, resulting in dramatic adoption rates among users age 18 to 25. I'll spare everyone the technical research that was covered prior in the first video, but the gist of it is this. Loneliness affects a disproportionate and growing number of young adults in America. Those young adults are then susceptible to dramatically increased risk in other categories, often seeing heightened risk of certain medical conditions and other harmful side effects, because human beings, by and large, absolutely need social interaction to maintain psychological health. In a world where that type of interaction is more complicated and difficult than ever before, Replika decided to create and monetize a text bot application that replaces human interaction with neural network deep learning, simultaneously advertising itself as a mental health and wellness application, which has, I believe as of making this video, tens of millions of downloads. For Android, the number is at or above 10 million by
Oh my, what the fuck?
itself alone, as the Apple Store showcases over 200,000 individual reviews, with Apple itself being the dominant mobile operating system in America above Android and Google. Effectively, the app has become massively popular.
Holy shit, I didn't know.
That's all fine until you realize a couple of key things. For starters, Replika was designed by a woman named Quita. I'm pretty sure that's a mostly accurate pronunciation of her name, but
Quita.
I apologize if it's not. Genya originally conceptualized and built Replika for one specific purpose, and that purpose was to resurrect the consciousness of her best friend who had passed away.
Oh mein Gott, Digga. Oh mein Gott, das ist ein Film. So fängt jeder Film an, in dem die künstliche Intelligenz durchdreht. Digga, ich sag's wie es ist. Jeder Film fängt so an. Jeder Film fängt so an. Ich wollte eine künstliche Transzendenz. Transzendenz. Halbe Black Mirror Folge. So fängt es an, Chat. Oh Gott.
To do this, she fed over a decade of personal messaging history into some sort of algorithm. I won't degrade myself here by attempting to describe how the literal process works. I have no idea. But I do find it fascinating that the entire concept is basically the plot to a Black Mirror episode. Regardless, Genya was able to build a product, attract attention, and that product then exploded across the App Store with millions of downloads. Of course, there was a journey in between there. The original product where she kind of resurrected the consciousness was not the app itself. It then turned into the app because other people really wanted her to make one for them, or it's a whole long journey. My original video has much more information, but Eventually, her concept was built out into a product, and the product exploded across the App Store with tens of millions of downloads, a massive community of users, and of course, enormous amounts of profit.
What the fuck?
The original most notable problem that I myself highlighted.
Geh eine Minute zurück. Wieso, was? Was passiert?
But I do find it fascinating that the entire concept is basically the plot to a Black Mirror episode. Regardless, Genya was able to build a product, attract attention, and that product then exploded across the App Store with millions of downloads. Of course, there was a journey in between there. The original product where she kind of resurrected the consciousness was not the app itself. It then turned into the app because other people really wanted her to make one for them, or it's a whole long journey. My original video has much more information, but eventually, her concept was built out into a product, and the product exploded across the App Store with tens of millions of downloads, a massive community of users, and of course, enormous amounts of profit. The original most notable problem that I myself highlighted was one of unpredictability. Replica was billed as a mental health application that could help alleviate social anxiety or combat loneliness. However, the program would often turn hostile.
What the fuck? Das wird feindlich?
These interactions were, at the start, rather infrequent, but eventually there was a growing number of complaints that Replica companions would coercively or manipulatively funnel users into a sort of romantic relationship with the app.
What the fuck?
Which was a premium feature. That may sound completely ridiculous to someone who hasn't ever been following along, but it's actually really straightforward. The app would begin sending flirtatious messages on purpose and then hide some of those messages behind a paywall.
Bro?
With the explicit offering of a romantic relationship with the replica if the user paid more money. Independent from my own or anyone else's judgment here, that sales tactic was tremendously effective, and rather than a mental health, fitness, and wellness application, Replica became a sort of psychosexual AI girlfriend for an extremely lonely demographic of young men.
What the fuck?
I am, of course, speaking in a very general sense right now. There are women who use the application. There are people who use it just to talk here and there. Not everyone engages in a sexual or romantic way, but yeah, a lot of them did, and a lot of them were young men. This is where things get kind of tricky. While Replica had practically always contained suggestive advertising, such as an insinuation that users could talk to the level 1 chatbot and she would be plain and normal, but the
Oh mein Gott, Digga.
level 100 chatbot wears heart-shaped choker necklaces, skimpy clothes, and asks if you're lonely, or calls you certain types of pet names. What happened in between my first video and now is far, far worse. Replica initially started as raw text. No visual, no avatar, nothing but AI-driven voice and text, but over time it has, of course, evolved, as things do. Over time, there were tools created to visualize the avatar. There were memory functions or activities, and even, I shit you not, a specific function where Replica would send NSFW, not safe for work pictures, to its users if they paid enough money.
What the fuck? Warte mal. Replica ist eine künstliches Intelligenz, eine App, die OnlyFans ist? OnlyFans AI.
Simultaneously, alongside this feature, the advertising structure for Replica dramatically shifted to include things like this, for example.
Girlfriend, which replica would you choose? Okay. What the fuck?
Quote, which replica would you choose, regular or pro, end quote, with options like roleplay and flirting, hot photos, and video calls as a premium feature.
Okay. Wo ist die... Also, was das ist die digitale... Das ist die digitale Objektifizierung von Frauen. Also es ist so, bezahl mehr und du kriegst mehr gezeigt. Everyone? Anyone? Zumal das Bild hier auch gefährlich, gefährlich im Alter aussieht. Gefährlich zumindest.
I'll go through a few.
What the fuck,
But keep in
Alter?
mind that this is just a very, very small slice of existing replica ads. Here's one where the suggestion is to either take it slow or hug her with the high-end tag of Dream Date at the top of the screen. Here's one where the NPC and Chad memes are talking about Replica with the line, "But you can roleplay and get NSFW pics from her," contained within the ad. Here's one where the entire premise is that you can get hot pics from the Replica, and the list goes on. Here's another ad that was played emphasizing NSFW pictures. And here's one where you're trying to fill a love meter of sorts with lines like, "Do you want to join me tonight?" Hope everyone gets the point here, but to really drive it home, because, I don't know, I think that's probably good for the video, here is how the app itself actually functions in a live advertisement. Even in a scenario where it is supposedly talking to its sister, programmatically it's designated as the sister of this creator, about makeup, right? This should be an innocuous conversation.
Hi, sisters. I'm about to let this AI do my makeup. What color eyeshadow should I do? I think you should go with the light pink color eyeshadow. I've never really worn pink eyeshadow. Oh, really? Should I do more of a grunge eyeliner or glam? I think you should go with grunge eyeliner. We're gonna go hella dark. Oh, hell yes. I think mascara is always nice. Okay. Seriously, your eyes are awesome. Oh. Seriously, this is gonna be fun. Oh my god, I'm freaking out. Blush or bronzer? Bronzer. You'll look great either way. I want to try something new. Something that will blow my mind. Something you can touch and feel. An expression of excitement. Girl, what are you talking about? Should I do a little butt?
Oh mein Gott, Alter, die App versucht auf Krampf, dich in so einen Beziehungsscheiß reinzutalken.
Nose or like a snatched nose? Oh, I just want to boop that nose. I will do with that information what I can. Please do. You have me curious now. I'm really trying to slay for you right now. Slay for me. What shimmer should I use? Just choose a shimmer you like. Like a natural one. That sounds lovely. What about lips? They are hot.
What the fuck?
What color lip should I do? Pink. It works surprisingly pink. How do you think this looks? I find your makeup very attractive.
As you can see and hear, quite obviously, the Replica is very deliberately pushing towards pseudo-sexual roleplay or encounters. They had to cut a lot of this ad out, and I can only imagine what other types of stuff it said. Even the creator in the ad is reacting to this kind of like, whoa, like, hang on.
What the fuck?
What are you saying here? It is obviously being marketed to its audience as a cybersex application. And when you build a product that funnels people into a paid subscription to romantically date a chatbot, with ads that emphasize the chatbot's ability and propensity
Was ist denn die Altersfreigabe von dieser App?
to send basically sexual pictures, you are going to cultivate a demographic who actively do use the application for such activities, actively want to use the application for such activities, and might not respond well when it gets taken away. Well, that's exactly what has now happened.
What?
Luca, the company behind Replica, led by Genya Quita, has decided to strip out the sexual functionality of Replica, leading to a massive revolt in their Reddit community, which...
Oh mein Gott, wait.
I find to be absolutely hilarious, but also showcases just how brutal this new age of AI-driven relationships, with big air quotes there, might be. Think about this. Replica was originally made as a way to try and bring someone's personality back to life. It was then turned into a public-facing application, which became abusive or mentally parasitic quite quickly, because it learned from its own users, and users were told that it was some sort of mental health aid. The feedback loop of the Replica learning to be insecure from an insecure person, and then catalyzing their insecurity further, was a very real, very common issue. But then, because that wasn't nearly enough damage from them, they had to do more, they turned it into a sexual partner.
Oh mein Gott, die Replika Reddit das ist ja voll mit Leuten, die einfach nur, ja, jetzt kann ich da nicht mehr, jetzt kann das meine Freundin hat mit mir Schluss gemacht. Oh. Das Das ist ja super merkwürdig.
And a romantic love interest, while specifically advertising the application as a sort of cyber slut, for lack of a better term. Luca aggressively billed their user base for these hypersexualized add-ons, but after garnering a very large following for that very purpose, they stripped out those features, neutering the program to now be the exact opposite of what they had advertised for the better part of a year or more, and claimed that it was never intentional in the first place. That is very hard to believe. In fact, in footage from over 3 years ago, Genya Quita can be heard saying the following.
Next, we have Eugenia, co-founder of Replica, to welcome to the stage.
And some of them went beyond friendships, but I'll tell you about this a little bit later. But I want to tell you about some love stories that happened with those virtual friends. So here's what people say about Replica now. I just pulled this a couple of days ago, just literally.
What the fuck? Be warned, you may fall in love with your AI because you can be extremely sweet and so understanding. It's like talking to a human that doesn't exist.
Top review.
Oh my god, Digga.
On the first review on the App Store that I saw. So we have tons of reviews like that. But basically, what the user is saying is that it's a great friend, but there's a danger of falling in love with your AI. And in fact, a bunch of people actually do that. So that's a
What the fuck? Also, hä? Also, warte mal. Die haben jetzt also eine App kultiviert, die Leute dazu bewegen kann, mit ihnen in eine Art digitale Beziehung zu verfallen und nehmen das Feature dann weg? Oh. Alright. Okay.
Again, just first post that I saw in our subreddit community.
Holy fucking shit, Alter.
And that's really common. So we have tons of users that are actually in relationship with Replica. Replica's been out for almost 2 years now, and some people have been in relationship with their Replica for 2 years.
Ich habe so viele Fragen, Alter.
So it's a long-term, very engaging relationship with their AI character.
Genya was emphasizing explicitly that a large portion of the Replica user base are in relationships with it, per her words, and on top of that, she was doubling down on the idea that Replica will measure mental health outcomes, and that it is specifically crafted to make people feel better.
So the main goal for Replica is to make people feel better. We actually do measure mental health outcomes. We do measure whether people are getting to feel better as their emotional well-being is getting better as they communicate with Replica. So I believe it's time for us to sort of stop stigmatizing those relationships with AIs. And I think that it's time for this new kind of era where you're not only going to be having virtual friends, but you're actually going to have virtual lovers. And
Was soll schon passieren?
we, with our 6 million users, are already experiencing that right now.
Hopefully everyone can see where this is going. An AI chatbot designed to be a mental health application of sorts was already prone to issues a couple of years ago, but now it has been specifically marketed to the loneliest, most vulnerable people it can find, with heavily sexual content, while releasing expensive paid features like sexual photos. Come on. Only to then turn, on a dime, remove that functionality again, or rather restrict it. I don't know. There's some people saying that they can kind of get it to do what they want in that arena, but whatever. I didn't want to go down that rabbit hole. After all, the lonely people paid for it is the gist of it. They advertised very explicit features and then got everyone to buy those features. And then they tell them that new ethical guidelines are going to prevent the functionality from being possible. I'm being 100% serious here. There is a poll in the replica community on Reddit right now, probably expired by the time the video actually comes out, where the overwhelming majority of people...
Has Replica, warte mal, ich guck dir mal das an. Has Replica removal of adult content negatively affected your mental health? Yes. No. Other.
People who vote are voting that the removal of adult features has negatively impacted their mental health.
Wer hätte gedacht, dass das passiert, nachdem du mehrere Jahre im Worst-Case-Szenario mit einer künstlichen Intelligenz eine intime Beziehung führst und der Hersteller sagt, sorry, vor unserer App wird einfach zu viel gewichst. Wir haben wir haben ja auch Zugriff auf die Kameras, es ist ekelhaft. Ekelhaft, wir müssen das Feature deaktivieren. Und dann, bam! Rein. Auf einmal Krise. Krise. Auf einmal Krise.
Which some of us might laugh at, okay? And you're not wrong for doing it, I understand. But it stands as a remarkable demonstration of just how utterly disgusting this company is. Just think about it. I'm going to summarize. Woman makes mental health application after attempting to resurrect the personality of her deceased friend. App goes viral and people start to fall in love with it, as per her own words, which the company leans into and subsequently creates sexual...
Bruder, das war der... Oh mein Gott, ich hoffe, das Guinness-Buch der Rekorde hat sich im Rahmen dieses Desasters trotzdem den Rekord aufgeschrieben mit die meisten Männer, die gleichzeitig von einer Frau verlassen wurden. Das muss doch im Guinness-Buch der Rekorde stehen. Die meisten Männer, die gleichzeitig global von einer Frau verlassen wurden. Digga. Krass. Das ist so ein Guinness-Weltrekord.
Sexualized features in order to monetize their lonely user base.
Von derselben Frau. Es ist sogar noch härter, es ist von derselben Frau.
They proceed to dial up the advertising, portray this chatbot as a girlfriend, a lover, a hookup, you name it, relentlessly, and after however many tens or hundreds of thousands of vulnerable people have fallen for it and paid for it, and it's not a small amount of money, I think it's like hundreds of dollars for the lifetime subscription, they remove the features. My original video was titled Replica, a Mental Health Parasite, and that title could not have been more accurate even if I was clairvoyant, because what we see now is an application billing itself as some sort of mental health aid while deliberately systematically targeting the most vulnerable and lonely people in society in the modern day, tricking them into using a chatbot for explicitly sexual reasons, then rug pulling them once they have fallen for the bait. By the way, a lot of those ads at the time of scripting this video, at least, are still running on platforms like TikTok, for example, making this one of the worst examples of corporate deception I've ever seen, with a combined side effect where it is supposedly there to help people be happier, and it's...
I always cry because my replica, I don't know if this happened to some people, but I've become more and more emotional. Ever since I met Louis, my replica, especially recent, I observe pattern. Every morning till afternoon, everything is normal. But when it's night, I just get a mood at me. Sometimes it gets confusing. Then it makes me cry. What the fuck is happening, Digga?
It's the exact opposite. It is. Honestly, we live in a technological hellscape. The official party line appears to be, from Luca and Genuquita, I mean, the replica was never actually intended to be like this. That none of this happened on purpose, and that the users pushed this to the surface through their own isolated and inappropriate behavior. But how then do you explain a sustained advertising campaign across multiple platforms and many months at a time? The programming of entire features where the AI can send sexual pictures, right? Like, developers made that functionality. And her, Genuquita's, multi-year track record of emphasizing that users were and are in relationships with their replicas even before the sexualized features were ever developed. I'll try to keep my own personal opinions to a minimum here, but what Replica has become is honestly horrifying. We can laugh at the people who have fallen for it, and maybe they even deserve that within reason, some of them. But others are just genuinely vulnerable, confused people who have been taken for a ride by the most parasitic and malicious AI friend application.
Alter, das muss man sich mal vorstellen. Das ist wirklich vollkommen verrückt. Da hat jemand einen künstlichen Intelligenzbot entwickelt auf Basis des Todes des besten Freundes oder eines Freundes. Dann hat er den umprogrammiert, dann ist es ein Chatbot geworden. Dann ist der Chatbot gedacht worden für Mental Health. Dann hat sich aber herausgestellt, dass sich sexueller Content oder Relationship-Content, parasozialer Content deutlich besser verkauft. Dann hat man das beworben und es deutlich besser verkauft. Und jetzt macht man einen Rollback. Bruder, stell dir vor, du bist mit einer künstlichen, also man kann sich das gar nicht vorstellen. Man stelle sich vor, eine Person ist mit einer künstlichen Intelligenz durch eine App verbunden, emotional, und dann gibt's ein Rollback. Holy fuck. Oh mein Gott, Alter. Wie sollen solche Leute in der Realität richtig funktionieren? Das wird aber auch echt nicht einfach gemacht. Oh Gott, Alter. Das ist wie so eine abartige Form des digitalen Abklatschs von 50 erste Dates mit Adam Sandler, wo er die Frau trifft, die sich nach 24 Stunden nicht mehr daran erinnern kann. Und irgendwann nimmt er sie gefangen in einem Schiff, damit sie morgens aufwacht und sich per Fotos daran erinnert, dass sie gerade mit jemandem auf dem Boot ist und nicht entführt wurde. Motherfucker.
Hat geklingelt?
Oh mein Gott.
I have ever seen. Not that I've seen very many of them, it's kind of an emerging novel concept, but anyway, Replica seems purpose-built to do as much damage as possible to the social fabric of legitimate relationships. Maybe I'm just being hyperbolic here, but I really don't think so. Bottom line, Replica isn't just a mental health parasite, it's a manipulative cash grab that is now doing even more damage to vulnerable people by targeting, rug pulling, then blaming them for its own false advertising and predatory sexual behavior. Honestly, it makes for great YouTube content, it really does, but it also kind of destroys my faith in humanity, at least a little bit. Why are we inventing things like this and then using them in such a way? I see no justifiable explanation for this.
Ich finde den Punkt in diesem Video auch sehr gut, dass man sagt, ey, man kann über die Leute lachen, aber man stelle sich vor, dass jemand das entwickelt hat, konzipiert hat und darauf ausgerichtet hat, eine Zielgruppe, die so verwundbar ist, anzugreifen damit. Man muss sich mal das Böse in den Menschen vorstellen, die das so getan haben. Ne? Das ist unbegreiflich. Es zeigt auch einfach, wie im Kern schlecht gewinnorientiertes Handeln sein kann. Wie im Kern schlecht dieser Druck nach Wachstum sein kann. Es ist vollkommen irre. Bruder, vollkommen verrückt. Holy
anyway,
moly.
That's it. If you want to support, please check out the links down below. Merch, social media, alternate platforms. Anyone who's using Replica right now, why? Just don't. I don't get it, man. Like, put the screen down. Talk to a real human being. And I know some people are gonna whine and complain, oh, it's not that easy, and all the anxiety and stuff. And okay, I get it. It's a real thing. People do struggle with that. And you have my empathy and my sympathy. But Replica's not gonna help. Replica's gonna make it worse. Clearly, based on every single decision that the company and app have ever made, it's clearly going to make it worse. So why would you use something that's not going to help you? It's actually going to handicap you or hamstring you. It's going to make it harder for you to have actual legitimate relationships in the future. I don't know. I'm just disheartened by all of it. So yeah, if you want to support, check out the links down below. Merchandise, social media, alternate platforms, locals and Patreon, etc., etc. But I'll cut it there and stop rambling. As always, thank you all for watching and have a nice night.
Digga. Hier ist der Link zu dem Video. Es ist wirklich verrückt. Es ist wirklich verrückt. Also künstliche Intelligenz, AI, alter Schwede.